Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy. And before I get started, I'd like to say thanks to Mr. Dave Warren, who sent this knife in for review. He is the Tuya Knives distributor and customer service rep for the U.S. So, what do we have in front of you today? We have the Tuya Knives T1702 Argon. And this knife comes in right around $154, and we're going to take a look at it, do an in-depth review, and see if you think it's competing with similar knives in its category. It comes in this cool zipper pouch that's got some little strap attachments here. Open it up, comes with a nice like chamois, almost like a chamois cloth. I rather it more than like say the Chris Reeve cloth. And I don't know how well it's going to come up, but you have these, you have one pocket here, and a big pocket here, kind of like on the Kaiser pouches, except this is like a velvety material. And I lost Mr. Dave's card, but I'll leave a link down to his site in the description. If I forget about that, y'all please let me know. Y'all know my memory sucks. So let's dive into it. We have a beautiful classic drop point blade with satin vertical on the main bevels and stone wash on the flats. You have a nice swedge up here in the middle that just gives it an added aesthetic touch. And you see right here in the front you have the Tuya Knives logo, which is tasteful. Flip it over on this side. You have the Tuya Knife T1702, first production, number 68 of 100. And they're rocking CPM S35VN. Let's take a look at that sharpening choil. They nailed it. Absolute perfection right there. Love to see that. And even though this is not really a designated forward finger choil, with my medium to small hands, I could definitely choke up on this comfortably. And just got to be careful about that edge right there. But definitely can be used, even though I think it's more intended as a sharpening choil. Let's get this up. Before I do that, you got some jimping up top right there. And I would say it's moderate. When you bear down, it gives you some traction there. It's not going to tear up your finger by any means. Get a shot of that. All right, there. Let's get this guy closed up. And there's your flipper tab. You got some jimping on that flipper tab. It's definitely functional jimping. And the way it's set up, it's set up in the light switch method. And let's just say before I open this knife, the action on this guy is awesome. It has recoil almost. It's riding on ceramic bearings and ceramic detent ball. And the way that flipper tab is sitting right in front of that pivot right there, you can have more leverage on the pull. So let's just check this out. Listen to this. I mean, the wax out there. The action on this guy is just stellar. That was the first thing I noticed out of the box. Before I even broke this guy in, the action is amazing. And as you can see, you also have a index finger pad for whenever you're flipping the knife, just for added comfort. Just a nice added touch on your higher end knives. So let's close it up so I don't cut myself. Let's look at these nicely done, intricately milled titanium scales. You have this stepped milled pattern that kind of, goes down like you were going on steps. Just nicely done. It's not your plain Jane flat titanium like you see on a lot of knives in this price category. You have a fade anode. You have the blue that fades into this blasted gray. Very nicely done. And it's only smudged right there because I forgot to clean it off before. My bad. But it was nicely done, and the colors were nice and even. Then you look at the pivot. You have a titanium accented pivot collar that's like a bronze color with just a flat face on that pivot. You got two standard T6 Torques in the back right here, with a nice generous lanyard hole and that bevel right there just for an added aesthetic touch. Flip it to this way. You have a geared titanium backspacer that is bronzed. Flip it this way, and you also, to match, have a bronze milled 3D 3D milled titanium pocket clip. And if you look up there, you can see it's got these step pattern going on there, just nicely done. There's the amount of room underneath that pocket clip. You got a good bit of spring to that clip. And while we're talking about it, let's see what it looks like in a simulated pocket. You got your flat pocket right here. So let's see what it looks like in your flat pocket. It sits nice and deep, even though it's not a deep carry clip. That's definitely acceptable for me. And in your slanted, say, khakis, you got it just a good amount sticking out, and that lanyard hole is accessible, so you lanyard guys, you're good to go. Alrighty, and as you see in the closed position, it's fairly slender for the full-size knife that it is. You do have a rather large flipper tab. That's not something that bothers me whatsoever. The blade sits down in there far enough to where I don't feel like I'm going to cut my finger when I rub my finger across there. And the blade to handle ratio is very, very nice. Pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio. That backspacer comes up right there, so you definitely don't have to worry about catching your finger on that tip when it's closed. Very, very nicely done. The balance point on this knife sits right there in the choil. Absolute perfection, once again. And that just makes a big knife like this feel so much lighter than it actually is. And they do that by, let's see if I have a light that's not going to shoot so much light you're not going to see it. Let me step this light down. Let's look inside there. As you can see, you got those pockets down there on the lock side, and up top you can see you got heavily milled on the bottom, so they did a good job of keeping it light and keeping it balanced all at the same time, which some companies have a lot of struggles doing so. Let's look at the lock disengagement area. You have this nice little cutout right there, so you can easily access that lock bar, and as you can see, you have that nicely done chamfer on the lock bar itself, and the titanium is not too thin to where you're going to have a sharp point right there. So very nicely done. Very comfortable to disengage that lock bar. You know, that's a pet peeve of mine when, you know, they try to do this bevel right here, but the titanium is too thin and it leaves a hard 90-degree edge right there, and it makes it even more uncomfortable. So very nicely done. They knocked that one out of the park. Okay, let's get into ergonomics. In your hammer grip, it's really, really nice for me, and I tested this guy extensively, and I noticed usually whenever I'm doing my maybe my 2x4 shaving, that in this grip, as much force as I'm putting down, you'll definitely notice any hot spots. And the only thing that I really noticed is right here on that step pattern. Didn't hurt, I felt it there. But I definitely felt controlled and comfortable in this grip, especially here too when I needed to put a little bit more power behind the cut. The saber grip was also good. This grip right here, comfortable, and the grip I never use is reverse grip. It's pretty good. And one that I use a lot, this pencil grip. You have this nice flat portion on top, so I could get some delicate, intricate work done without any problems. So let's get a quick size on this guy. We'll get a quick size just so y'all have an idea of what we're working with on this full-size knife before we get a weight. So overall length on this guy is right around 8.5 inches with about a 3.5-inch blade, and the cutting area is right at 3.5 inches. Your grip area is a little shy, about 3 3/4 on your grip area, which is perfect for me. And let's see how thick this guy is in this dimension here. Let me make sure I got it zeroed out. That's your thickest portion. It's 0.54, so a little bit over 1/2 inch, not bad. And in this department, it is 1.166, not bad whatsoever. Definitely manageable. Let's get a thinness behind the edge, because I noticed This thing's it's almost a full height, full flat grind, just right here. So it was an excellent slicer. And at 0.022 behind the edge, that tells me why. Like I said, the standard Spyderco Delica is 0.020, so this is almost the same thinness behind the edge. So it was a dream to cut with this guy. It came ridiculously sharp out of box, and I cut tons of cardboard, shaved a bunch of 2x4s, cut some straps, seatbelt straps. I used this knife to cut up some foam to make an insert for a case, my flashlight case that I made. And I also cut up some zip ties just to check the edge stability. And it did a great job. It held up just like all the other S35VN knives that I have. It didn't, there wasn't any major concerns of how well this was heat treated or anything. It did just fine. So before I get into a few of the things that I wouldn't mind seeing different on this knife, let's get into some size comparisons. And these are not only size comparisons, I would say these are some direct competition, either direct competition for this knife or just in size in general. But the first one, this one I would definitely see as a competitor to Tuya knives, and that is the Kaiser Knives SLT, or the Schlut. These two are pretty much identical in size, but the price tag on this guy brand new was at, I think, $180 or maybe more. So you're getting the same materials and a little bit better bang for your buck here. Sorry, I keep hitting my tripod. The next competitor, I think, in this category would be Bestech. And here's the Bestech Starfighter. The Starfighter has a little bit more intricate milling, but they're pretty, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me today. And I think this one comes in right around $200. So there you go, the Bestech Starfighter. Another company that is kind of in this round, but a little bit higher priced, but is We Knives. This is just a knife produced by We Knives. This is the Booz Blade Smoke. As you can see, the Booz Blade Smoke is swallowed by this knife. Let's see, what else do I have on my table? Got another Kaiser, the Wanderer. This is a design by Justin Lundquist. Great knife as well. And direct competitor, I think this one come in at $180, somewhere around there. And it's a good bit smaller. See, one that more people are familiar with, the Spyderco Endura 4. And as you can see, the Endura 4 is a good bit bigger, and I'm not even in frame. Let's see if I can get this in frame for y'all. There you go. So you see the Delica is a good bit bigger. The Endura is a good bit bigger. See, just for shites and giggles, I got two more. The Benchmade large Ritter grip, which is the same size as the regular large grip, and it's a good bit smaller than the grip. And one more last one, just because I feel like it, the Boker Solo. And this is one that I haven't reviewed yet, but definitely need to. These two are almost identical in size. This is another good knife. You're looking for a review. If y'all want to see a review on this guy, y'all let me know. This guy is rocking CPM 3V, but the video is not about this guy. It's about this guy. So let's check the weight on this full-size beast. And like I said, it's well balanced, so it feels a lot lighter than it probably actually is. 4.66 ounces at around 8.5 inch knife. I think that is definitely a good job. They did a great job of keeping the weight down while maintaining the balance and effectiveness of this knife. So a few little nitpicks, and that's all they really are, is nitpicks. Is first off, I don't love the flathead pivot. I much rather a Torx, but it's not hurting the knife whatsoever. These are just gripes and critiques. Another thing, the way that this milling comes down on this pocket clip, it's easy to get the knife into the pocket, but I did notice every now and again, depending on what kind of material I was wearing, that those step patterns would kind of hang up on the clip. Nothing major, and it didn't come flying out of my hands or anything, but just something to note. And one more last thing, like I said, I didn't have many on this knife because I thoroughly liked the knife, is the billboarding here. I definitely could have went without all this right here. I wouldn't have mind seeing maybe that first production either in here or in the inside scale somewhere. I don't know. It's kind of busy there. But definitely, like I said, not hurting the functionality of the knife. The knife was great. And I definitely look forward to seeing what they do in the near future. Like I said, they're a fairly new company. They don't have a whole lot of models yet, but they're producing some pretty cool stuff. And I don't know if they're an OEM or their stuff's made by somebody else. I didn't get to ask Dave that. I'll try to ask him, and I got another review coming up of one of his knives here in the next couple of weeks. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Share it with all your friends and family and your social networks. And if you like my videos in general, hit that subscribe button if you're not already. And if you would like, you could also hit the bell on side of the subscribe button so YouTube doesn't make some of these videos hard to find. So there you go. Hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.